Hello and welcome into another NHL playoff series preview. On this one, we're going to be talking about the Nashville Predators taking on the Vancouver Canucks. Vancouver Canucks, first time in the playoffs since the bubble playoffs. We'll see how they play. Nashville, hot team going down the stretch at the end of the year. They had that long win streak or point streak. This is a very tough series to predict. And as you can see, the Vancouver Canucks are minus 150. And I think the reason they're not higher is just because the unpredictability of what Nashville is and what Nashville can do. They both play very different styles of hockey. Nashville, more of a pack-it-in team, defend, grind out goals, get the results. Vancouver can kind of fly around the ice. They have good depth, good scoring. Nashville, on the other hand, they've been scoring pretty well lately. So it makes you wonder, can Nashville take that momentum into the playoffs and upset the Vancouver Canucks? You look at the season series, you'll see Vancouver leads the series 3-0. That being said, these teams have not played since December 19th. Two of those games were in October, so those were within the first 8 to 10 games these teams played. So you really cannot go off the season series at all. You might as well wipe your butt with those stats and throw them in the toilet and flush them, because they're not going to be indicative of how these games go. Vancouver was a much better team in the first half of the year than Nashville. It doesn't really show what Nashville is now. You look on the left here, you'll see that both these teams are not really strong favorites to go far in the playoffs. Vancouver, despite winning their division, only isn't even in the top half of the playoff teams. They're actually the ninth best odds to win the Stanley Cup, and I think that goes to show just the value of experience and the lack of it that Vancouver has. Moving on, though, looking to stats this year to see how both teams are lining up. And you'll see on the Nashville side of things, you got Roman Josi, who's pretty consistently at a point per game now. He's a very fantastic offensive defenseman, and around him, you just have a team that plays good defense. Filip Forsberg, superstar player, honestly, 48 goals, 46 assists, really, really breaking out. I believe that is his career high in points. Gustav Nyquist, he's a U-Manner. I'm a U-Manner. Solid player, underrated around the league for a while. Good fit in Nashville. Ryan O'Reilly, gamer in the playoffs. Tommy Novak, decent. Then you got a drop off to Luke Evangelista, Colton Sissons, Jason Zucker, Ryan McDonough, who is kind of a factor in my opinion when you look at experience here. On the other side, you have the three leading scorers for the Vancouver Canucks. JT Miller, fantastic offensive player. Quinn Hughes, maybe the best offensive defenseman in the league when you factor in just passing ability. 75 assists for a defenseman is crazy. Elias Pettersson, star player, superstar player. Brock Besser, great scorer, 40 goals this year. Hronek, decent defenseman. Connor Garland, Lindholm they acquired. Not the same player he was a few years ago in Calgary when he potted 40 goals, but still decent. Nils Hoglander. And that's kind of the thing here. Scoring-wise, the depth is better for Vancouver. When you look at playoff-style hockey, though, this Nashville team definitely has the players to do the job. You look at the lines now they line up. You got Miller, Suter, Besser, Hoglander, Pettersson, Lafferty, Dakota Joshua, Lindholm, Garland. They have three lines that can all score and all can produce and can all pop up and take over a game. On the Nashville side of things, you have a really tough first line to play against. Ryan O'Reilly creating space for Filip Forsberg and Nyquist to score. You then got Sissons, Jankowski, and Zucker, Beauvillier, Novak, and Evangelista, Smith, McCarron, and Sherwood. These middle six, you could overlook them, to be honest, when you look at the name value of a Sissons and Jankowski, a Novak, a Beauvillier, but a lot of these players can play good hockey and are capable of scoring. You look at the defense, you got McDonough and Josi, Lozon, who broke the NHL hits record this year, which shocked me, Dante Fabro, Spencer Stastny, who kind of secured that bottom pair job throughout the last 2 months, and Luke Shen, who's a solid bottom pair defense. You look at the other side, Ian Cole, Zadorov, bottom pair, Myers, Susie, second pair, Hughes, Hronek, very good top pair. I think the depth of the defense for the Nashville Predators is a little bit better here. I think you got a lot of guys who can play good defense for both teams. I think really what it comes down to, though, is probably which middle six is going to do better. And it's tough to say the Vancouver Canucks middle six won't do better because they're just more talented. They spread out the wealth, and they very much could win this series. That being said, there's not a lot of experience when you look in playoffs with this Vancouver team. You go to the history of playoffs here, and you'll look that the Vancouver Canucks have not made the playoffs since 2020. They missed the last 3 years. And this is really their first year of being a good team. They've gotten solid goaltending out of Thatcher Demko, which I think I forgot to include the goalie stats on the slide. Which, that being said, you can see right here, though, Nashville has been in the playoffs the last few years. They missed last year, but before that, just no round wins. So you really got what's going to happen here. Is the young up-and-coming team going to show that they're a legitimate playoff team? Because there's a lot of teams that can score, and then once they get to the playoffs, it dries up because they play a team that's playing a tough style of hockey. Getting locked in a cage with another team for a 7-game series is much different than scoring throughout the regular season. Like, Nashville is going to figure out what they do well, and they're probably going to do better at limiting them than they've been used to in the regular season. Can the Canucks adjust to that? That's really going to be the kind of the determining factor here, and it's one of those reasons why Nashville has a decent odds to upset compared to what you might think when you look at these teams, just because of the unknown factor. I'm going to actually slide the goaltending stats over here now, cover my face here, just because I forgot to put them on a slide. I think it's kind of a wash when you look at it. UC Saros, very good goaltender, not the greatest stats in the world that you see right now, but I think we all know what UC Saros is capable of. Then you got Thatcher Demko on the other side, who's just been a very good goaltender this year, was injured for a bit. Only played 2 games leading up to this playoff run because he was injured for the couple of weeks before this. So it's going to be curious to see, is that injury problem going to come back? Is that going to affect him? I'm not going to make my decision based on that, though. I don't think that would be fair. He played good the last 2 games he played. But it's something to talk about if it does come up. Stats in the last 20 games, just to show you that Nashville has been really a lot better lately in the last 20 games, last 30 games, whatever you want to call it, because of that streak. Philip Forsberg, 33-21, best scoring player as of late of either of these teams. Roman Josi, 25-21, that's ridiculous for a defender. Nyquist, 24-20. O'Reilly, almost a point per game. Novak, Jankowski, Evangelista, playing solid. And you'll see, like, the depth scoring of the Nashville Predators as of late has been better. Will that continue in the playoffs? 2 notable things. You'll see in the last 24 games that the Nashville Predators have actually accumulated 3 more points than the Vancouver Canucks in 1 more game. They've been playing about the same level when you look at just point percentage, win percentage, like 6.9 here for them, 0.69 I should say. Whereas with the Canucks, it's 0.65, so not a lot to split there. 11 regulation wins for both teams in the last 20, to 21. And I think this is kind of more of a pick'em. If I'm a betting man and I go back to the intro screen and I see that the Predators are dogs, I might jump on that as a better just because I feel like this series is kind of a coin flip just because Vancouver is unknown in the playoffs. As you can see by, if I can move this out of the way now, as you can see, just nothing really to go off of. They made the semifinals in 2020, but I'm not really putting too much stock into that. Quinn Hughes, for example, went off in these playoffs, if I remember, but it's his only playoffs to go off of, and they were playing in empty stadiums, so it's like, what's going to happen in these tight, tense series with crowds? It's really hard to say. With that being said, I kind of flipped a coin, and I kind of wanted to pick an underdog, so I went with the Nashville Predators. Now, I'm not really strong on this opinion. I'm just picking it because I feel like the experience that they have, a lot of leaders in that locker room, whereas I'm not really sure about the leadership of the Canucks. Like, I look at the Predators and I see a guy like Ryan O'Reilly, a guy like Ryan McDonough, who both have won Stanley Cups. And then I look at the Vancouver Canucks and I'm not really sure they have those guys in the locker room to pick them up when they're down. Now, time might tell me that I'm wrong about that opinion, but it's just kind of the vibe I'm getting here is that I think Nashville might edge out Vancouver and take this series and pull an upset. That being said, like I've been saying, I kind of make these statements and then I walk them back a little. I'm not positive on what Vancouver's going to do. They're a wild card team. They're probably the biggest wild card team in the playoffs because there's quality in this lineup. Like, we go back, there's a lot of quality here. Tyler Myers, Zadorov, Ian Cole, Carson Soucy, all capable defenders. You got Quinn Hughes, who can score at a ridiculous pace like a Roman Josi. Filip Hronek, very good player. When he came over from Detroit, I don't think many people expected to get what they've gotten out of him. You look at this, every line can score. This is a team that could go on a run, but at the same time, they're a team that could be packing their bags in 2 weeks and going to Cancun. So it's really tough to predict the Canucks right now. But I'm going to go with the Predators. I'm going to pick the upset here. That's the video, guys. If you like my analysis, if you want to see my other predictions, my bracket challenge was just uploaded. I have every series now uploaded except for the Edmonton LA series and the Vegas Dallas series. Both of those will be coming out tomorrow, and then after that, or along with that and after that, will just be videos about what's going on in the playoffs on this channel. So if you want to follow, subscribe down below, and I will see you in the next video. Have a nice day.